Canadian athletes dedicate their lives for their Olympic moment. For some, it's a chance that only comes along once. Now they will have to wait and see if they get another opportunity and find out if the world follows Canada's lead about the Tokyo Games and the coronavirus pandemic. In a move that happened late last night and has set off reaction around the world, the Canadian Olympic Committee announced Canadian athletes will stay home this summer. CBC Sports' Jamie Strachan is with me this morning to lead off the coverage for this hour. It was a big, bold move, Jamie, announced late last night, and as I said, it is starting reverberations globally. Tell us more about the COC decision and statement.
Heather, this was a shocking move by the Canadian Olympic Committee. They sent a release out last night that said if the Tokyo Games were to go ahead this summer, it would not be sending any of its athletes, saying the health of Canadian athletes comes first, and that sending them to the Olympic Games in Tokyo would run counter to public health advice being given around the world. Now, this is something that many federations, individual athletes were talking about, encouraging the IOC to do. As I reported on this story kind of over the last 2 weeks, this is what I've been hearing from everyone, but the IOC has been insisting that it's business as usual, full steam ahead, in the words of Thomas Bach. Even yesterday morning saying, you know what, we're still not going to make a decision. We're going to wait 4 more weeks. But now the decision kind of slowly slipping out of their hands. It was Canada, the first country in the world to say no. Literally minutes after the announcement came from the COC, the Australian Olympic Committee followed suit. And I would expect to see more countries follow Canada's lead later on today and throughout this week, as athletes and associations from around the world pushing the IOC to follow the advice of public health officials around the world and postpone these Tokyo Games. But the Canadian Olympic Committee last night, Heather, taking the lead, putting its foot down and saying no.
Well, you're quite right, Jamie. I mean, global athletes, so the organization, the body that represents athletes around the world, supporting Canada, saying the same thing. World Athletics Federation, so that's track and field, also saying similar things today. I'll have some of those details in a second. But Canadian athletes, as I mentioned in introducing you, Jamie, I mean, they train, they live for this moment. For many, it will only come along once. It can be a devastating blow to them. How are they reacting?
Well, Canadian athletes, for the ones that I spoke to throughout the week, were really kind of pushing for this. I mean, you're right, Heather, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for many athletes. But at the same time, you need to train with an actual finite goal in mind. And this kind of unease hanging over athletes was really making it difficult to train. A lot of qualification spots haven't been taken yet. So there was a lot of uncertainty in the athletic community. One of the first voices on this, Heather, was Haley Wickenheiser, 6-time Olympian, still active with the IOC. She came out last week and said that the IOC was being careless in its decision-making, saying this could still go ahead. She came out last night immediately after this decision saying that she was proud of the leadership that Canada has taken. And many big-name athletes around the world also weighing in on this. Lolo Jones, one of the most well-known athletes in the world, an American sprinter, came out and lauded Canada's leadership on this. And that's really been the tone from athletes that I've seen on social media in about the 12 hours since the decision was made. And as you mentioned off the top, Heather, it's rare that something that Canada does resonates around the world like this. But in every newspaper, every big-name person that covers sports around the world came out and said, you know, Canada really taking the lead on this. And like I said off the top, I would expect many other countries to follow suit, if not today, but later this week. Australia already following Canada's lead.
Okay, Jamie, thank you very much for leading things off for us. Jamie Strachan with CBC Sports, and he is in Toronto.